Hey everyone, I've realized that I should probably make some of the videos in English um, because a lot of you co conspirators and allies are either monolingual or in the process of learning another language. And so Spanish is probably not easy to understand for you all. And this information is important for you to have as an ally to BIPOC folk. Um, as we continue with the work uh, alongside Chico Unified, I want to show you the California dashboard. And so this is a site that's available to anyone. It's public. I believe it's www.cacschooldashboard.org. I'll put the link in the comments below. You can go here to check out any school in California and how they're performing in different categories. And you can drill down into each category to see who's doing well as far as student populations. And I'll show you how they divide those populations and who is not doing well. And something I remember last year as we were in the middle of the situation that unfolded at Rosedale was that some parents were saying there's nothing wrong with Rosedale, and some teachers as well. Like, Rosedale's great. What are the complaints about? And there was frustration around, why are you and I think it was addressed to me and other parents who were asking questions. There was this um, small but significant outcry of, why are you making problems where there are none? And Rosedale's fine. There were some people saying things like, my kid graduated from Rosedale and he's fine. And although, Rosedale is just as fine as any other school. And one question that I kept asking myself as I heard these comments from different folks was, fine for whom? Who is doing well at Rosedale? And so this is a tool that will help you see who is doing well at Rosedale or at any school. And you can also just look at Chico Unified as a whole and who needs to be supported more effectively. So right now it's in Spanish because I was doing my other video, but here you can switch to a different language. Yay. Um, I love that these different tools are available multilingually because in California, we understand that the future is a multilingual one, right? All right, so here we have Rosedale Elementary. 2022 is the year that we're going to be looking at because, again, these systems are based on the previous year's data. So they take scores from the California State Test, they take scores from the LPAC test, they take surveys from parents. They take, I think, information that is gathered through LCAT meetings as well. I'm not certain 100% on that. And then other data like absence rates and general population data they take from census and things like that. So um, here we can see that it's divided. It's pretty easy. We can look at academic performance, English language arts, mathematics, and English learner progress. We can look at academic engagement, and there's just one thing under that category, and that's chronic absenteeism. And then conditions and climate, there's only one thing under that, and that's suspension rate. So let's just take a look at English language arts because it's the first thing on here. And here, when you look at all students, yeah, medium, right? 3.1 points about above standard. Not too shabby. There's 241 students that have been taken into account for this because I believe, again, they're using scores from the California State Test. And so that test is only taken by third, fourth, and fifth graders. And that would make sense with that number because Rosedale has approximately 500 students, a little over that. So this does not include kindergarten, first, or second graders. Um, and so when you look at medium and then you click into it, all students. Oh, sorry. Here, let's look right here. It already divided it for you. So here, none of the students scored very low. And then English learners, Hispanic students, and socioeconomically disadvantaged students scored low on that test or below average, right? Medium, no students scored medium. No student group scored high, but here you can see that white students at Rosedale scored very high. And now this is interesting on many levels because one, most of Rosedale's population is not white. And that information is available here as well. We'll go look at it in a moment. And so for the white population to be scoring very high on California standardized tests in English, and for the Hispanic English learner and low socioeconomically or the socioeconomically disadvantaged community to be scoring low, something has to be happening, right? For that to happen. We learned in admin classes that all systems are created perfectly to deliver the results that they're delivering. And so what is the system we've built at Rosedale that creates this situation where the minority of our students, which are the white students, are scoring significantly higher on standardized tests than the Hispanic students, which is the largest population at Rosedale? It's interesting because usually when you have a large population of one demographic, teachers adopt their teaching to benefit that population. And as a dual immersion school, the program, dual immersion, two-way dual immersion program, is designed to address the needs of this population. And here it's clear that that's not currently happening. And so it begs the question to be asked, why? Why is it not happening? And so let's just take a look at a different area. Let's look at math. So again, all students are doing fine, medium. And so I get it. Parents are like, we're fine. However, even as a whole, when you look at our student body, 240 students that took this test, here we are scoring below standard as an aggregate. And then when you look at the individual student groups, again, low, English learners, Hispanic, and the socioeconomically disadvantaged. And here, very high is white. And so, pattern, right? We're seeing a pattern. And this pattern, mind you, is replicated through every school in the district and most schools in California and most schools in the nation. What to me is adds a level of interest is that it's a dual immersion school. Again, that's addressed that's created to address the needs of this population. Um, Efficiently, well run, high quality dual immersion programs do not have as wide as a gap. They do have gaps. There is a gap that exists, an opportunity gap. Um, but it's not that dramatic in well run dual immersion programs. And so it's important for us as parents from Rosedale to look at this information and ask questions. What can we do better as a school, as a community? How can we support educators? How can we support parents and families so that all students at Rosedale are doing well and not just some? Today, we have a BIPOC meeting at the district office in the back conference room at 6 o'clock. And if you'd like to join as an ally or a co conspirator um, and engage in this conversation and ask questions on behalf of families that cannot attend these meetings or that are not able to access these meetings in an effective way or in a meaningful way, you can show up and you can be a listener and create space for the people of color who are talking. But if no one is able to ask questions yet, or you're hearing a lot of silence, perhaps you can ask permission to speak up on behalf of the people of color, the BIPOC community that is not in attendance there. You can look at chronic absenteeism. Rosedale is rather high. Here, we take the entire student body into account because we have daily data on who shows up at school and who does not. And you can see that the kids who are absent, who are not going to school as often as they should, are the students that fall under the socioeconomically disadvantaged category. And then high, English learners, Hispanic, two or more races, students with disabilities. And very low, we have no student groups in this situation. So here we see that it's a little more equitable. Like, equal numbers of students are not showing up at a high rate, but let's ask questions. Why? Why are students not able to show up? Is it transportation issues? Is it, other issues? I can't begin to guess, and that's why we have to ask questions, right? And then for suspension rates, we can look at all students. Rosedale scores very low. All students are taken into account here, and none of our student groups scored very high or medium. All students are scoring very low, and this is good to see, right? It's good changes that are happening across the nation as we review how we support students that need redirection and behavioral supports. We're thinking of ways other than suspending them from school to be able to address their needs and the needs of the community that they live in. And so this was just an overview of how you use the California School Dashboard to understand how our students are doing. Um, I hope that it was helpful to see this. If you go into Rosedale's homepage, you can see more about like the school demographics. I'm having trouble going back to the homepage, but let's see if I can go back there so you can see more information about Rosedale. Yeah, so you can just put in Rosedale here, Chico, that's already in, and there's only one school. Um, Here's the school details. Um, you can see the school population on here. There's an app for your phone too that you can download. We've got 524 students. And when you click into here, you can see the breakup. 92 English learners, 13 students that are homeless, 287 students that are socioeconomically disadvantaged, more than half of our kids, students with disabilities. We have one student that identified as African American. This is not 100% accurate, by the way. It's just based on how families filled out different surveys. Two students that identify as American Indian, one student that identifies as Asian, 363 students that identify as Hispanic. That's almost 70% of our population. Two or more races, 24, and white, 121. So here's where I was talking about that discrepancy. We have a lot of students of color, Hispanic students, um, and yet this population is outscoring this population pretty significantly in English language arts and mathematics. So I hope this information helps guide your thought processes as you think about school transformation, as you think about how to approach school officials when they're asking for your input about how can we address different communities better. I don't have the answers. Um, and I believe that the only way we can come to answers is by working together because the answers involve authentic conversation between educators, parents, students, administrators, and other community members. Um, it is only through a completely collaborative effort that we can find solutions to the opportunity gaps that our students of color face. And again, Rosedale is not an anomaly. That this gap is something that our entire like US community knows about. And I believe some schools are coming to solution are finding solutions together. And I think Rosedale's community can do that as well. I have a lot of hope because Rosedale is awesome and there are so many amazing all of the families are amazing. But already there's a really high participation rate from families at Rosedale. Again, there's a disparity in who participates, which is why I am attempting to address the needs of families that speak Spanish through Spanish resources in the form of videos and information. Um, and I think Rosedale, because All of us who chose Rosedale chose it because we value biliteracy or multilingualism. That adds another component of care um, to the way we show up at school. And so, yeah, let's address these issues in a respectful and caring way. And I look forward to next year's report looking less imbalanced. Have a nice day. Bye.